How can we create strong, lasting relationships? Not even just the intimate kind of relationship like a marriage, but how can we strengthen our family bonds? How can we create stronger friendships? How can we even form a better relationship with our customers if we're in sales or retail? The reality is, the principles that we talk about in this video will apply to every single area of your life. So let's get right to it. I'm Brandon Eastman with BeBetterIndustries.com, and on this YouTube channel, we talk about peak performance, mindset, and achievement. Achievement towards your goals, and achievement towards who you want to become. So if you're into those things, be sure to hit the subscribe button below. That way you're notified of all new videos that we release every single Monday. And while you're down there, be sure to hit the like button. That way other people can get the same exact information as you. In my life personally, I have a bunch of different relationships. My wife and I, we've been married for almost 4 years as of next month, and we've been together for almost 9 years. I have a close circle of friends, and I am heavily involved in the sales world because I travel upstate New York to train new salespeople, and I still have customers of my own that I help. And all of those are different forms of relationships. While they might be different, they are all one and the same. And what I've learned through years of developing relationships, losing relationships, mending relationships, and building new ones is relationships and forming them comes down to one key area. And that is your level and your ability to communicate effectively. Your communication will determine the quality of your relationships. You might be asking, Brandon, what does communication have to do with it? It has to do with everything. If you're having a problem in your intimate relationship with your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever it might be, it's a problem with communication. Ask yourself, how often am I talking to this person about them? How often do I actually care about having a conversation with my significant other? How often are we able to properly communicate the problems and the challenges that we're having in our relationship? And if the answer is not too often, if approaching a sensitive area when it comes to communication is not happening too much for you or your significant other or a customer or a friend or anything, it means that there's tension in the communication with the two of you. If you're having trouble in any of your relationships, it comes down to your communication with the other person or the group of people. If you and your girlfriend or boyfriend are stagnant, if it feels like there's just not that level of fulfillment, there's not that level of joy, ask yourself, when was the last time we had a conversation about this? When was the last time we sat down to talk about our challenges, to talk about where we're headed as a couple, to talk about how I feel or the other person feels? When was the last time that happened? If you're unable to get very deep in a relationship of any kind, whether it's intimate, a friendship, or whatever it might be, it's because you're not encroaching on that level of communication that needs to be happening. And I see this happen all the time. I've worked with thousands of salespeople who've been going through problems in their home life, who've been having problems when it comes to their intimate relationships, and it's because of their communication. So you might be saying, Brandon, how do I become a better communicator? I want to share with you one principle when it comes to communication that will completely change the way you look at communication and your relationship forever. And it is this: there are only two kinds of communication in any form of relationship, and they are a loving response and a cry for help. Any kind of communication or any kind of response you get is going to be one of those two things: a loving response or a cry for help. As an example, if your girlfriend or boyfriend, or even maybe your roommate, which is a relationship in itself that you need to foster and care for, says to you, hey, can you go take out the garbage? Or hey, can you clean the dishes? And you look at them and you say, what do I look like? Why the heck would I do those things? It's been 3 weeks since you've done it. Get your butt outside and take care of those things. How do you think that other person is going to respond to that? Do you think they're going to look at you and say, you know what? Brandon, you're right. I'm going to go take care of the dishes because based on that response, you make a good point. I don't think so. I think the real outcome is going to be a back and forth between the two of you with, oh, but you haven't done this, and oh, you still need to do this, and I took the garbage out last week, and you did it last week, and it's been months since you've done it. That's a cry for help versus a cry for help versus a cry for help. And it just keeps crying back and forth until the two of you go your separate ways for a few hours, don't talk to each other, and then you continue chipping away at the only piece of the relationship that you even have left. Whereas if your significant other looks at you and says, hey, Brandon, can you take out the trash? If you look back at them and say, of course. You do all these nice things around the house. You've been cleaning the dishes. You've been doing the laundry. So that's the least that I can do. That is a loving response. That is you actually listening to what the other person wants and going at it from a mindset of service. Pay attention to that because we'll be revisiting that. So if you're in an argument with your significant other, or an argument with a customer, or a friend, or your family member, and it's just going back and forth, remember, the only way that you can solve that argument, first of all, is not to argue at all. But if you found yourself in this situation, remember, they are giving you cry for help after cry for help. All you need to do to combat a cry for help, while it might be difficult, this isn't going to be easy, okay? Is give them back a loving response. Say to them, listen, I hear you. I probably messed up here. I've messed up plenty of times in my life. What is it that I can do to make you feel better? What is it that I can do to come to a resolution? They're going to look at you and they might even give you another cry for help, but they're going to come from here in terms of their levels of escalation and their levels of anger, and you're slowly going to bring them down to here. Because the thing is about people is we all want to be understood. We want the other person to hear what we're saying. We want the other person to look at things from our own particular worldview. So if you're getting cries for help all the time from your significant other, rather than give it back to them because you feel like you need to win and you feel like the argument needs to happen, why not avoid it entirely by giving back a loving response? And I know that's difficult. And what I would recommend you do is when you get a cry for help thrown at you, when an argument is about to be started, when there's about to be a back and forth in any part of that relationship, I want you to remember in your mind, and as soon as you get a cry for help, I want your mind to trigger the thought of, how can I give back a loving response to this cry for help? And maybe rather than trying to win that argument, you simply try to love that individual. It could be a friend, a partner, it doesn't make a difference. Love that person. Attempt to see what they're saying from their point of view. Essentially, walk in their shoes, as the old adage goes, and give them back a loving response. Hey, I hear you. I want to get to the bottom of this with you. I want to be able to solve this with you because I love you. I care about you. I want to make sure that we come to a solution together. So what is it that I need to do in order to make you feel better, in order for you to be happy? And you can't come at that with a sarcastic tone. Our tonality is even more important than the words that we're using. If you look back at the person and say, all right, well, what is it that I can do to make you feel better? That's not going to be nearly as good as if you look back at them and say, hey, what is it that I can do to solve this problem? What is it that I can do to make you feel better? Because I care about you and I don't want you to be in pain. I don't want you to have to worry about these things. You've been so busy lately. What can I do to make you feel better? That is going to immediately de-escalate that individual back down to here. And at this point, when you're at this level of escalation, which is very low, then you can actually talk to each other. And only when you're at that level of love, that level of understanding, that's the only point in time when you'll be able to influence that other person. And that's the only point in time where you can actually continue forming and building on the relationship that you have. It's going to de-escalate them. It's going to allow you to continue building the relationship, and it's only going to strengthen that relationship between the two of you. It just creates respect when you're able to see things from the other person's point of view. So remember, whenever you're presented with a cry for help, give back a loving response. I mentioned a service mindset. You see, in any kind of relationship, we can never go into it looking to get something out of it. Get a certain feeling, get a certain thing, get a certain promotion. Maybe if the relationship is with our boss or our coworkers, we always have to go into a relationship, if we want it to be successful, with a service mindset. Always asking ourselves, what can I give this other person? What can I give this group of people? What can I give my workplace? What can I give my husband or my wife? How can I seek to improve their life and make them feel good most of the time? You see, my wife Bree and myself, we hardly ever fight. I don't think we've actually fought once in our relationship. Does that mean we're perfect? Absolutely not. We have disagreements where I might give her a cry for help and she might give me one back, but then I trigger in my mind, okay, loving response. And she does the same thing. Even though she doesn't know the terminology, cry for help, loving response, she does it naturally because my wife Bree is always looking at things from a service mindset. Let's face it, she definitely does it a lot more than myself, but I do my best and I'm getting better at it. But she always goes at things with the mindset of, how can I make this person happier? How can I make their life better? She never goes into a situation wondering how she can get something. And that's the same thing if you're in sales with your customer. Always do things that are right for them. Don't try to manipulate. Don't try to push them into something. Only do what's good for them, because if you do that, that customer will become a customer for life and they'll come back to you over and over and over again, and you'll be the only person they ever buy from because you went at it from a service mindset. The same thing with your friends. If you always try to give when it comes to your circle of friends, you're gonna be the favorite friend in that circle. And you're not doing it for that intent. You're doing it because you want to build long-lasting, positive, and healthy relationships. If you take anything from this video, let it be that there are only two forms of communication: a loving response and a cry for help. And when presented with a cry for help, always give back a loving response. And always go at things with the mindset of service. What can I do for this individual? What can I do to make them feel good and make them happier? In the link below, click that link and enter your email, and I'm going to send you a free copy of my ebook, because in the chapter on relationship mastery, I talk about the cry for help and the loving response, and I go more into depth on how you can actually apply this in your own life. Remember, hit the subscribe button here, that way you see all new videos every single Monday when they're released, and hit the like button if you found value from this video. And comment below, what was the part of this video that helped you the most? And until next time, continue to be better.